Hello and welcome to today's episode of Focus Atlanta. I'm your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this Sunday afternoon. In our first segment, we're going to talk a little bit about what's in your medicine cabinet. We're going to give you some truths and myths about what you have in the house. I'm here with Dr. 𝘗𝘕𝘵𝘃. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's good to meet you.
You as well.
Well, let's start off. Let's get to the races. Do people often come to you with questions about what they're holding on to and expiration dates and things like that?
Oh, it's such a common question. I mean, we hear everything in the pharmacy, especially in the community setting. So I love to share the most common myths that I've always come across with you all.
Oh, please do. I'm sure there's a ton of them. Let's get through as many as we can.
Absolutely. The first common myth that I always hear is all medications are safe, especially those that are over the counter, such as our herbal supplements and vitamins. I mean, it's so accessible. It's right in front of us, easy to purchase. And a lot of our patients think that these medications are safe to take along with their current medications. And that is one of the biggest myths that I come across and I see. For the reasoning being that these medications can interact with our current medications and have a ton of side effects and a lot of problems down the road. For example, our blood thinners, they interact with almost everything over the counter. Our pain medications, you have to make sure you're choosing the right one. Our herbal supplements like ginger, ginseng, ginkgo, there's vitamin E, you have to be super careful with. So not everything that's over the counter you could combine and mix with your current medications.
Oh my gosh, that's got to be a huge one because yes, you're right. They're thinking they're doing the right thing with adding all these supplements and not really recognizing what they may interact with. Okay, that's a big one. What's next?
Yes. Next one is all medications need to be taken with food. While this is true with a number of medications, not every medication should be taken with food. For example, our thyroid medication, that needs to be taken on an empty stomach. Our acid-reducing medications like omeprazole, the Prilosec over the counter, those need to be in an empty stomach in order for it to show and have the best results. Some antibiotics like penicillin need to be in an empty stomach and not, you have to make sure. That's why it's so important to always consult with your pharmacist. Always make sure that you're getting the right and up-to-date information on how to take your medication correctly.
You're right. I mean, I think that's why it's so important that we have a relationship with our pharmacist. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So that we're not afraid to ask those questions. What's next?
You should stop taking your medications once you feel better.
Oh, I bet that's a big one.
That one is a big one.
Everybody wants to stop as soon as we feel a little bit better. But
as
don't
soon
do that,
as
right?
it does.
Okay.
Exactly. You never want to do that. This holds true for your antibiotics, because as soon as we start feeling better, we're like, oh, okay, let's stop taking it. And most of the time it's about 7 days or 10-day course. And you think that you're starting to feel better, I'll just stop taking it. But what happens is the bacteria that you're fighting becomes stronger and starts to build resistance, and it becomes harder to fight and causes more issues down the line. But if for in the future you do happen to have the same infection, it becomes hard to get rid of.
Wow. Well, given all of this information, and I'm sure that there's much more, is there a place that we can follow you, learn something online, get some tips so that we stay connected to the right information when it comes to what's in our medicine cabinet?
Absolutely. So I'm available online. I have my website at pharmasue.com. You can contact me on all social media platforms. I recently launched a pharmacy mentorship database called pharmacymentors.com. And that leads to my next myth, where pharmacists only practice in community and hospital settings, which is a big misconception because there's various specialties that pharmacists can work in, over 50 different areas where we practice and provide care to our patients, such as nuclear pharmacists, military pharmacists, veterinary pharmacists. And this site just brings everyone all together, and we help mentor our students and the future pharmacists.
Oh my gosh, you have been so helpful just in this small conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to educate us and making sure that we're on the right track. It was good to meet you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
All right, guys. We can't all have our friendly pharmacist, right? At a moment's notice, but she's saying maybe you can. That's what the good website is for. And there are tips, there are things that we can do to better educate ourselves so that we can stay happier and healthier. Thanks guys for tuning in to this segment of Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back with more.